Good morning. I made another epiphany yesterday about overs, which we'll get to for the Egypt and the Croatia matches. Both of them show you the negative elements of over 2.5 goal trading, which is why I prefer reactive trading, or at least my ultra preference with overs would be to wait for a 0-0 at half time. Bosnia and Germany, this is what it's supposed to do. A short price favourite. You're supposed to get a goal before half time. So you take advantage of the gap between start and goal and back over 2.5 goals at enhanced odds. Now my epiphany, split stakes. Half stakes back over 2.5 goals. If it's 0-0 at half time, half stakes back over 2.5 goals at enhanced odds. That way, if you get that goal you're searching for, the averaging of the two odds at which you backed means that you might have a really good chance at a green up, rather than in the case with Egypt and Croatia yesterday. You're waiting for that third goal and it's just not working, is it? So that's what you're after. So that's my epiphany. I'm going to try it practically today, see whether it comes good. Dutch red card came far too late, really, but they did score after the red card. This would have been a tricky play because you're looking for something from the Netherlands in response to Hungary. So you could have done the usuals, lay over 1.5 goals, back Netherlands +1, or back Netherlands, lay Hungary in the match odds market. Oh, there's the ice cream man. Anyone fancy an ice cream? Oh, he's gone. So a difficult one, this one, but yet again, overs, you don't have to worry about all that, do you? Just get that goal before half time and you're out. Czech Republic, well, that's what we expect, 1.65 favourite. Again, from an overs perspective, the goal came a little bit too early. Iceland and Wales, I don't know. I'm looking at short prices. So Turkey, Montenegro would have been a little bit disappointing. So what to do in this case? These are the troubling ones. No goal before half time. Just a single goal there. You could check, of course, individual matches or teams to see whether they've got a good record of 2.5 goals by going to standings and over under. So you can see with the Czech Republic, if we get there, oh, they're not involved there. It must be in a different group. Let's see if we can find the Czechs. There they are. So this is a purely over and under standings. So 2 overs, just the 1 under. So that was a pity yesterday. I'm not sure how I would have solved this issue. Yet again, 0-0 at half time. You're back over. Oh, you can't because you had that goal before half time. So that's irrelevant there. I'm talking about Turkey, aren't I? So you could have backed over 1.5 goals second half. Even there, you'd be either a marginal profit or a slight break-even loss. Okay? Just for the goal before the 75th minute. That's the power of the over 1.5 goals. We've got plenty of 0-0s at half time yesterday in these odds-on favourite matches, which makes that so appealing. Estonia and Azerbaijan likely to be looking at goals with such weak opponents. In the under-21s, trouble with some of these matches not being covered on the exchange. This is what I'm talking about. We had that nice delay. No first half goal after 20 minutes. So I went over 2.5 goals. We got 2 goals. I got out of here with a £20 loss on a £40 stake. That's the problem with the overs. If you're waiting for 0-0 at half time, particularly in a match like this, for a 1.09, you're still going to get about evens for over 1.5 goals. This gets you a green screen. So I'm leaning towards that 0-0 at half time play for my preferred route to over 2.5 goals. German under 21s, you're expecting goal before half time here. Well, 9th minute. So it's up to you. If you can trust a goal before half-time, that's a route to take. Again, odds and goals marry together, don't they? 35th minute. This would be absolutely perfect for your over 2.5 goal play. You'd be out of there after 35 minutes. Very nice indeed. So plenty of those shorties. Good result for the England under-21s as well. And in Ireland, 1.36 again. Bringing forth the goals with Kerry. You'll probably be looking at them for an over 2.5 goal play. So no major panic at 0-0 at half-time. Back over 1.5 goals second half. There's plenty of them that turn up at 0-0 at half-time, aren't there? You saw a lot of them yesterday, including this lot, Egypt. And again, I got out of here with an £8 green screen, having backed over 2.5 goals after 15 minutes. The second goal, 79th minute. That got me out with that £8 green screen. The market is too much of a risk. 11 minutes for that third goal when you've already got the ideal scoreline, which is 2-0. So yet again, if you wait for a 0-0 at half-time in a match where it being 0-0 would be an absolute mystery. Back over 1.5 goals, get out there. Nice and simple. Plenty of examples of that yesterday as well, with Croatia and Egypt, very, very short price favourites. Nigeria as well, 0-0 at half-time. Well, that probably would have produced a loss. I would suspect you get out at the 75th minute mark or at a predetermined loss point there. So this is the problem with the internationals. They don't all marry together. You tend to see on a Saturday and Sunday during league football that these short odds tend to produce the goals we expect. Not so with internationals. You can often have very defensive setups from the like of Libya, as you can see. And then you get stark contrast, South Africa scoring 5 when they're expected to as well. Probably didn't get a 15-minute break there. Well, nearly. Mokoena, not quite. Listening, 3 minutes to go for that 15-minute mark. So you see the potential there. On to today. And it's a day of more Nations League football. You can have a look at the overs this route, or as I do, we'll be looking at these short prices. Might just creep in 1.7, 1.57 Romania. These give you an idea that we're expecting a win. 1.66 at home. Cadiz, not having a good season, newly relegated Cadiz in La Liga 2. We'll be looking at that later on. Guinea and Morocco should really bring it home with those kind of odds. And we know the quality of this Moroccan side, absolute standout in Africa. I've done all the research for you, of course, so you can look through. And at the base, it's just a quick look at 2.5 goals and both teams to score first half goal as well. Bulgaria and Luxembourg. Luxembourg are on the improve, so they might be defensively stout for a while. We will see. Croatia and Scotland about right. But again, you could see a defensive Scotland setup. Croatia are not the side they used to be. They're an ageing side. Belarus, Northern Ireland, unlikely over 2.5 goals there. Cyprus and Romania. Possible given Romania's recent goal-scoring form, Cyprus' defensive frailties. Portugal and Poland. You're expecting goals with Portugal, aren't you? Poland are just not very good at the moment internationally, so you'd be strongly favouring the pork and cheese. Serbia and Switzerland, 2.45 the favourite, just tread warily there. Likely is not very strong. Especially Mitrovic's form for Serbia and Switzerland's occasional flashes of quality. So Spain and Denmark would expect some goals there as well. So that 0-0 at half-time is the absolute ideal, isn't it? If you can get a side of the quality of Croatia under-21s, by which I mean their opponents, Andorra under-21, make them the quality side there. And Egypt, with the likes of Salah up front, at home, 2 out of 2 over 2.5 goal matches already, 0-0 at half-time. That's the kind of scenario you're waiting for. Well worth waiting for. And you saw plenty of them turn up yesterday at these short odds and produce. I think the only loser would have been Nigeria, I think. But there's ways round that as well. You could back over 1.5 goals, back under 1.5, or back over, back under 0.5 goals to cover that 0-0. Or, as some have mentioned, you could back 0-0 pre-match in these short price favourite matches at the start. Liability will be very low indeed. Overs possible here with Crawley and Shrews, Peterborough and Rotherham. I don't like the odds. 2.37 the favourite. Peterborough have been in decent nick. 16 goals scored this season. So they're in good nick. Chesterfield and Notts County, 1.95 Chesterfield. 2.5 goals likely. Possible winner Notts County, 2-2. Although that's AI for you. Draw is highly plausible. So Notts County +1 would be on the cards there. At least one first half goal has been scored. 90% Notts County League 2 matches this season. That's pretty good going. AFC Wimbledon and Carlisle at the base. Attacking form for Wimbledon. The predicted score looking for a 2-0 win for Wimbledon. At least one first half goal has been scored in 90% of Carlisle's League 2 games this season. So that's a strong stat. Barrow and Morecambe. Very strong favourite Barrow today. Morecambe have fared well against Barrow in the past. But we're looking for a Barrow win today. Been exactly 1 goal in 5 out of 10 of Morecambe's League 2 games this season. Cheltenham and Swindon. We'll be looking at over 2.5 goals as well. Cheltenham to possibly win. Both teams to score. And a first half goal very likely. Doncaster and Crewe. Odds on Donny. Possible 2-1 win for them. So another tight match in prospect. Strong form overall performance this season. Let's have a look. More goals in the second half in Crewe's last 5 away. So if that's 0-0 at half time, back over 1.5 goals. Over 2.5 goals possible, considering both teams' recent scoring trends. Gillingham and Accrington Stanley. Again, going for a Gillingham win. And over 2.5 goals are possible here. Harrogate and Newport, 2.1 the favourite. Not too hot with those kind of odds. Slight favourite. Going for a score draw. And with that, likely to overs. MK Dons and Port Vale. Again, I don't like the odds. 2.15. It's not the best coupon, is it? 2.25 the favourite in lower tier leagues. It's all about what happens in play for me in these lower leagues. I can't trust these sides. I would be keener to play a neutral in these lower leagues than trust any one of the sides. So I'll see you throughout the day. There's no live stream today. I don't like internationals. I think I've made that clear. I find them very difficult to read and to trust. You've seen South Africa 1.32 scoring 4 or 5 goals. Then you see Nigeria 1.32 at home, 86th-minute winner. Where's the consistency there? This is international football. That's what happens. So with that in mind, I'll be around for the earlier kickoffs for you, but don't expect an avalanche of plays as well. And we've got lower tier English football. It's all about what happens in play there. So I'll be looking on with interest there. Don't forget, with your new eyes on neutral plays, let's have a look at some potential neutral leagues today, i.e. good for goals. So working your way down. The ladies' football, of course, but could be liquidity issues, particularly in the overs and unders markets. So I wouldn't be entertaining them. There's plenty of other opportunities today, I'm sure. So it's majorly England today, isn't it? And the Nations League. Looks as if a lot of the other leagues are closing down. But I was going to say Danish First Division or Second Division, but they're not playing today. FA Cup qualifying might interest some today, but this looks largely lower and non-league, doesn't it? Cray Wanderers. So liquidity issue and a huge gap in knowledge from me as well. No real league teams or they're very, very lowly league teams, National League, that kind of thing. I wouldn't be interested in that. Again, over 2.5 goals in the Under-21 Premier League 2. It is a cup match. So as you can see, we're shorn of a lot of the lower tier leagues during the international break. So there's not much going on. So I'll leave it at that. I'll see you throughout the afternoon, probably 3 o'clock onwards. As ever, tread very warily with international football. I do, as I say, prefer to be taking a break during the international break because I don't get a good block of time off like this throughout the year. And we're flogging a dead horse really with these international football. It's very, very difficult. Unless you get some strong angles, like the red cards the other day, Italy leading 2-0, get red carded, and it ends 2-2. That could be something to look at. But I'll be on hand for you today. If I find anything, I'll certainly pass it on Telegram. Have a great day.